Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson. It's April 30th, 2014. Let's get straight into our news tonight. Top story, Democratic Senator Markey's hate speech bot. Earlier this month, we ran a story on Senator Ed Markey's the Hate Crime Reporting Act of 2014. The legislation proposes updating 20-year-old report on the role of internet, radio, and TV that they allegedly play in encouraging hate crimes based on gender, race, religion, ethnicity, or sexual orientation. And Mark Slavo writes, combined with the new WebBot hate speech tools, could the government then preempt detention and arrest under the Patriot Act or the National Defense Authorization Act, both of which allow for action to be taken against those who threaten national security, yet another broadly defined term. And that's a very good point, because we see this administration doing everything they can possibly do to get into just the lives of everybody, whether it's the FCC in the newsroom or now the hate speech on the internet. Oh, you don't like Obama's drone policy? Oh, you're a racist. Or you don't like Mrs. Clinton lying about Benghazi, or at least not doing everything in her power to prevent the situation. Oh, now you're a sexist. And that's the same thing that we're going to see here. They're just going to continue to ratchet up more and more, so where everybody's just shook, afraid to put out anything on the internet. This is the internet censorship, and we'll be giving you more of these reports as they develop at Infowars.com. White House email instructs officials to blame Benghazi on video. Now, this is that stupid innocence of Muslim video, which there's nothing in that video they haven't done on episodes of South Park. But they say, well, they want the White House to tell you that the reason that the Benghazi consulate was attacked was because of that stupid YouTube video. And now we have this document obtained by Judicial Watch. It says representatives were told to portray the Benghazi consulate terrorist attack as being rooted in an internet video, not a failure of policy. And Jakari got grilled about this very issue.
Former Director Morell just testified last month that, quote, when she talked about the video, my reaction was, that's not something the analysts have attributed this attack to. It did not come from the CIA. You stood there at the podium time after time and said that she was referring to talking points created by the CIA. Now we see a document that comes from the White House, not from the CIA, attributing the protests to the video.
Russia orders urgent dispatch of military medical teams to the Ukrainian border. This by Paul Joseph Watson. The Russian Ministry of Defense has ordered brigades of military medical teams to be urgently dispatched to the Ukrainian border. Another sign that Moscow is preparing for war after tens of thousands of troops were sent to the border region for drills, which is just another way of saying that things are getting pretty serious pretty fast. We've seen a former State Department director say that we need to bomb Syria to teach Russia a lesson. I'm not exactly sure what type of lesson that would teach them, but you know, they're ratcheting up this war rhetoric. And while everybody's concerned about these things that people are saying on Twitter and all this other stupid stuff, it has nothing to do with anything. I'm very much concerned about a potential World War III situation, and that's the thing that we really need to be focused on, not all these other trivial issues. Man arrested for criticizing Islam. Now, this ties into everything that we were just talking about, whether it's the innocence of Muslim video or the FCC regulations. And you're going to see Paul Joseph Watson break this down and explain how a man who was stating a quote, it has now been arrested for criticizing Islam.
What kind of country throws someone in a cage for publicly criticizing the religion of Islam? Saudi Arabia? Iran? Afghanistan under the Taliban? Well, now you can add the United Kingdom to that list, because European Parliament candidate and leader of the Liberty GB party, Paul Weston, was arrested by police last weekend for publicly reciting a Winston Churchill quote that was critical of Islam.
How dreadful are the curses which Islam lays on its votaries. Besides the fanatical frenzy, which is as dangerous in a man as hydrophobia in a dog, there is this fearful, fatalistic apathy. The effects are apparent in many countries. Improvident habits, slovenly systems of agriculture, sluggish methods of commerce, and insecurity of property exist wherever the followers of the Prophet Muhammad rule or live. A degraded sensualism deprives this life of its grace and refinement, and the next of its dignity and sanctity. The fact that in Islamic law every woman must belong to some man as his absolute property, either as a wife, a child, or a concubine, must delay the final extinction of slavery until the faith of Islam has ceased to be a great power amongst men. Individual Muslims may show splendid qualities, but the influence of the Islamic religion paralyzes the social development of those who follow it. No stronger retrograde force exists in this world, and far from it being moribund, Islamism is a militant and proselytizing faith. It has already spread throughout Central Africa, raising fearless warriors at every step. And were it not that Christianity is sheltered in the strong arms of science, the science against which Islam has vainly struggled, the civilization of modern Europe might fall, as fell the civilization of ancient Rome.
Now, the main point of that quote is to berate Islam for its appalling treatment of women in some Muslim societies. Not once does it mention anything to do with race, and yet Weston was arrested for committing a racially aggravated crime under Section 4 of the Public Order Act, fingerprinted, DNA sampled, and could face up to 2 years in prison. Why was he arrested? Well, someone in the crowd took offence to Weston's thought crime and reported him to the authorities.
And we go to some more White House news. White House wants to turn interstate into toll roads. Now, this is something that you should be very much aware and concerned about. Kit Daniels writes, the White House sent a transportation plan to Congress yesterday, encouraging states to turn existing interstates into toll roads, which would allow the government to easily track motorists while damaging the economy even more. If Congress enacts the White House's plan into law, states could implement tolls on interstates throughout America, a nightmare scenario that's already raising concerns. Yes, because we already see them with the carbon credits wanting to tax you by mile like a taxi cab would. And now this is just another way to track what you do and charge you more for the things that you already do. Do not give them this control. Do not give them control of your internet. Just tell them to get out of your life and just let you be and live, have the American dream without the government infringing on every aspect of your life. And now one area that the White House is touching on that I think is actually something good to point out, we have this report, 1 in 5 women is sexually assaulted in college. Now, the headline pretty much says it all right there. But my concern about this is that even though we have an administration admitting that we have a problem at the colleges, they're not really doing anything to stop it because they still don't want you to concealed carry on campus. Most campuses don't even allow you to have a vehicle in your car. So they're saying that, yeah, we have a problem. And if you go watch the video that accompanies this article, you'll see some very well-meaning women. I'm sure they're, very nice people trying to do the best they can. But they say the way we can remedy the situation isn't necessarily to have firearms, but they said we can have teachings. We can have all the girls going to college be required to watch a video. And as well-intentioned as I'm sure that is, watching a video isn't going to stop a horny, drunk rapist. I don't know, maybe they could get some UFC guys in there to teach these girls how to fight or just allow them to protect themselves by having a firearm. Most of these campuses don't even allow their students to carry tasers or knives. So you got some girls straight out of high school, a $115, some big linebacker guy wants to take advantage of her. What's she going to do? They need to be able to defend themselves with the measures, whether it's a firearm. If you don't like firearms, fine, let them carry tasers, let them carry pepper spray, let them do something to defend themselves so they don't just have to sit around calling 911 and hope somebody gets there in time to stop the assault. Now, 911 did arrive in time to kill a man. We have this report from Don Salazar. Shock video, Long Beach cops execute unarmed fleeing suspect, claim that they felt threatened. Now, the video is rather graphic, but this is a situation where a man was running around brandishing a pair of scissors. He gets into his vehicle to flee. The police track the guy down. Now, at this point, the man gets out of his vehicle, runs down a flight of steps away from the police with a dog chasing after him. The police claim that they felt threatened, that this fleeing man was running away from them, shot the guy in the back. He fell down, busted his head on the stairs, and now he's dead. And this isn't the first time we see these type of events. It happened right here in the city of Austin. A man who didn't match the suspect of a bank robber went to a bank, was kind of freaked out by the situation the encounter he had with a police officer, ran down the street. The cop caught up to him later, shot an unarmed man in the back, and then was ruled a justifiable homicide. And it happens all too often. And the thing that really gets me isn't that these happen so often. It's oftentimes that the police officer gets away with it. If somebody breaks in your house at 3 in the morning and you chase the guy down the street, an unarmed guy down the street, and you shoot him in the back, you're going to jail because you're going to have a very difficult time proving that an unarmed man fleeing from you was an immediate threat to your life. These officers need to be prosecuted, and hopefully we can get some justice for this victim. And somebody who just will not allow justice to be served are the people in the Justice Department. Because we have this, Holder's latest scandal. DOJ now pressuring banks to refuse service to gun stores. And it says, for the past several months, the Department of Justice has been pressuring banks to refuse services to businesses that DOJ is targeting politically, such as gun stores, in a program entitled Operation Choke Point. So we have Eric Holder, who perjured himself about knowing about Operation Fast and Furious. We have Eric Holder, who says that he wants to brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way, as well as a slew of other things we don't have time to get into. And saying, you know, don't even think about me. This isn't about me. This is about the Attorney General. They're treating me bad. You're treating us bad, Mr. Holder. I'll call you out on that. I don't care what color you are. I'm for the color of justice and the color of rights and liberties. That's the color I'm about. So, Mr. Holder, you're up here cracking down on these gun stores, not even allow them to bank. So you're saying if you own a gun store, you can't even bank in the United States of America, and somehow you think that's justice. There is no justice in the Justice Department until we do the justice and have this man on a trial, a serious trial for the crimes that he's committed and continues to commit. Now he's just targeting gun stores, trying to get you to think about guns in a vastly different way. And one thing that you may think about in a vastly different way is the way that our country runs, because we just saw in our last story, mom and pop gun shops can't even bank. So when you take away your mom and pops, now you're taking away from your economy. Now we have this story, GOP blocks minimum wage hike. And the article points out that they were trying to raise the minimum wage from $7.25 to $10.10 an hour. And they blame the GOP for these things, but the Democrats weren't really doing too much to help this along either. And I don't fall into that political football thing. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. So I don't get into that whole deal. But the point I'm trying to make is this administration, this Democratic administration, who's always talking about equality and we need equal this and we need equal that. And we do. I have no problem with people making more money and so forth. But we have this administration that won't even do things right in its own house. It's telling you that you need to pay people more, but they don't do it in their own house. Leanne McAdoo filed a report about how women who work in the White House are paid less than the men who work in the White House. So if you want to start at the top, Obama administration, why don't you start in your own house and get things in order there? Then you can come out and tell other people how they need to handle their business. Well, that's it for this segment of the Infowars Nightly News, but stay tuned. We'll have more special reports. David Knight will have a special report about police shakedowns. Police are literally committing highway robbery, robbing people on the highway, just quite literally. That's what it is. And also Murdoch Pizgatti. He is the president of Come and Take It Texas. He's going to be talking about the BLM targeting ranchers just like they do in Nevada. They're trying to bring that here to the state of Texas. And I'm pretty sure we'll have more than a few Texans saying come and take it. And something that you need to come and take, the opportunity available to you at PrisonPlanet.tv. Come and take that 15-day free trial. You can get the Alex Jones Show, the nightly news, the special reports, the rants, all right there at PrisonPlanet.tv. So stay tuned after this break for more special reports.
My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only two ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Hi, I'm Shane Steiner. A lot of you have been following my progress using Supermale Vitality. The last 19 weeks has been an incredible experience. I was feeling a little down and lethargic during the holidays, and none of the supplements that I was taking were doing any good. That's when my longtime friend from high school, Alex Jones, introduced me to super male vitality. I was a little skeptical at first. Not only would I have the energy to work out and go to the gym, but it was actually the changes were happening to my body a lot more rapidly. My whole mood, my libido, everything had completely changed. The concentrated organic herbs, they stimulate your natural systems to produce the natural hormones that you need. I just really wanted to bulk up and hit it hard, and I went in for about the first 5 weeks and was lifting heavy weight and just really hitting it hard, and I gained 20 pounds of muscle immediately. Since that, I've decided I was gonna lose some weight and slim down. I just changed up my workout a little bit, and 35 pounds came off. Folks, this is not a joke. This is not a gimmick, it's real. Super Male Vitality, available at InfoWarsLife.com.
In a story today on Infowars, dashcam footage shows Nevada deputy extorting $50,000 from an innocent motorist. The police department is defending this as just standard operating procedure in the war on drugs. It appears that there's something else going on here. You can clearly see the deputy trying to extort the money.
It's your call. If you want to walk away, you can take the cashier's check, the car, and everything in it, and you can bolt. And you'll be on your way. But you're going to be walking away from this money and abandoning it.
Said, good luck proving it. You'll burn it up in attorney's fees before we give it back to you. Should we be surprised that law enforcement officers are corrupted by the war on drugs, acting as highway robbers, when the government that they serve scoffs at the law and at the Constitution? Not long after they began the forfeiture program, there's a famous case about Willie Jones of Nashville. He was flying to Houston in 1991 to purchase plants for his landscaping business. Because Jones was black and paid for the plane ticket in cash, he was reported by the ticket clerk to the DEA. The DEA officers in Nashville checked his ID and asked permission to search him. He did not give permission, just like this fellow in Nevada did not give permission, but they searched him anyway. And they found $9,000 in cash and said that they were going to detain the money. Yeah, that's right, they're arresting the money. They never charged him with any crime. And Mr. Jones commented and said, I didn't know it was against the law for a 42-year-old black man to have money in his pocket. Well, of course, it's not just black people who are being singled out anymore, it's everyone. And these assets are being used to fund not only the police departments and buy them things like military vehicles, but also lets them buy all kinds of law enforcement toys. And they're using seized assets like cars, just like in Miami Vice. They're using the assets that they seize as their personal toys. So is it any wonder that they began to do this as freelance? We need to understand that the war on drugs is a violation of the 10th Amendment. We have 2 of the 27 amendments in the Constitution regard prohibition. One to criminalize alcohol prohibition and one to make it legal again. Why were those needed? And just as we saw during alcohol prohibition, prohibition always breeds corruption. Drug prohibition has been running over 5 times as long as alcohol prohibition, and the corruption is orders of magnitude worse. And the government is now broadening asset forfeiture far beyond the war on drugs, as we see in a recent Supreme Court case, Cayley versus United States, decided back in March 4th. In this case, a couple was accused of stealing prescription medical devices from hospitals and selling them on the black market. Now, in order to pay for their legal expenses, they took out a $500,000 loan against their home. That was confiscated prior to their trial. After they were indicted by the grand jury, their assets were seized, depriving them of the means of their defense. Their assets were confiscated without an adversarial hearing, even without their lawyers present, and the term for this is ex parte. They maintain, and I believe rightfully so, that their 5th Amendment due process clause was violated. They also claim that their 6th Amendment protections were violated, their right to choose their own lawyers. Well, less than 2 months ago, the Supreme Court decided by a 6-3 decision that they did not have 5th Amendment protection or 6th Amendment protection, that their assets could be taken before they had an adversarial trial and deprive them of the means of their defense. And of course, that means they can do it to you too. So exactly how does our government differ from this one police officer who shook this guy down on the side of the road, took his money and said, I'll offer you a deal, you can keep your car if you let me keep the cash? Basically, there is no difference.
From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new Infowars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
A chemical spill contaminating the water supply in 9 West Virginia counties.
This year alone, over 300,000 people in West Virginia had their drinking water contaminated.
What are the health effects of having these drugs in our drinking water?
It's forced medical treatment without the consent of residents.
My friends, water filtration is one of the most basic actions you can take to protect you and your family from the harmful toxins and heavy metals in your tap water.
On average, the county says it sprays with the glyphosate at least once a week.
Few filters cut out the glyphosates that is found in water supplies worldwide. Remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, hydrofluorosilicic acid, sodium hexafluorosilicate.
Fluoride is in tea, it's in coffee, it's in water, it's in bread, it's in toothpaste.
It is our responsibility to protect our families. The establishment's not going to do it. It's time to take action. It's time to filter our water. For a limited time, use the promo code WATER15 and get 15% off on all ProPure systems at InfoWarsStore.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
We see the Bureau of Land Management trying to seize lands in Nevada. Now the Bureau is trying to come here to Texas and try the same thing. And as you may imagine, there are more than a few Texans willing to stand up and say, come and take it. Murdoch Pizgatti is our guest tonight. He is the president and founder of Come and Take It Texas. So his group is going to be out there staging a peaceful, I stress peaceful, open carry demonstration to stand in solidarity with Texas ranchers. He joins us now via Skype. Thanks for joining us, Murdoch.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today.
All right, so tell us, let's talk first about the BLM. So we see the situation out in Nevada and a lot of demonization going on with the open carry groups. Some guys even say they're straight up militia. You know, of course, they're welcome to do that. Of course, they're welcome to open carry their firearms, also to carry their firearms on their hips and so forth. But to be very clear, with your demonstration coming up here pretty soon with the BLM coming here to Texas, do you have any type of, violent plans or anything of that nature going on at all?
Not at all. You know, we're out here, we're going to be exercising our Second Amendment right by open carrying our long guns, rifles, shotguns, and pre-1899 black powder pistols. But we're out there to support the ranchers. We're out there to support private property rights. We're out there to support Texas. And we're really just trying to put them on notice that, that we're not going to stand for this overreach of the federal government to come in and take these federal land grabs that they're, that they're going after these ranchers' property that they've used in their family for over 100 years.
And that's exactly right, because we see all the rhetoric, we see all the situation, I guess the ongoing situation going on in Nevada. They say, all these guys, these open carry guys, these other activists are out there pushing for violence, which is not the case. They'll show, one picture of a guy out there with I guess some type of rifle up on the top of a hill looking down. And they say, oh, you see all these guys out here trying to be violent, but that's not what you're about at all.
No, and just to clarify, the incident that's happening in Nevada is completely different than what is happening here in Texas. It's a completely different scenario, and we're working under different guidelines.
And that's exactly right, because we've seen Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott come out and he said, I'm prepared to go out there, these are his words, go out there and raise a come and take it flag. Because just as you said, it's an issue of government overreach. When nobody's trying to start a violent revolution as other media outlets are trying to spin. It's just people standing up for their own property rights. They say, we're not going to let the feds come here and boss us around and take our lands that we've been ranching on for generations.
Absolutely, and we are going to raise that flag. We actually have big funding going right now for people to come and sponsor a flag of their choice, Gonzales or Gaddison flag, a come and take it flag, and we're going to line them up on that border during our event right there at the Red River.
And tell us more about that, how they can get involved with your campaign.
Sure. If you want to go to our Facebook groups, the Come and Take It Texas Facebook groups, or don'tcomply.com, or Come and Take It Texas, which is CATITX.com. You can go to any of those places and find links to our event. It's the Gathering of the American Patriot event that's happening May 24th. There's the links on there for you to go ahead and sponsor a flag that's going to be placed there. They're going to be 15-foot tall poles with your name engraved on the pole, lined up on the Red River in semblance of support for these ranchers and their property rights. You know, it's going to be a family-friendly event. There's going to be speakers, live music, food, camping, you know, and of course, we're going to be open carrying our long guns.
And that's right. And people who may be skeptical of this, you know, I've marched with you guys, other groups around Texas as well. You guys are very peaceful. You're very courteous when you encounter people. You're not bullying people around. So I would like to dispel that rumor right off the bat. But of course, you know, I'm sure you're aware of this as well, Murdoch. With these type of events, you always have a potential provocateur situation. So, you know, just want people to be aware, and, you know, just so you can put people at ease, you know, what type of safety measures are you guys going to take when you go out there to make sure nothing bad happens?
Anytime we have these big events like the one we did in San Antonio or Temple, Texas, you know, anyone that's there, you can ask them. We had safety crews that were present. There's going to be safety crews present this time up here in the Red River. We're going to be doing chamber checks for all the long guns. And, you know, we really put safety first because it is family friendly. You know, people are there with their children, and we just want it to be a peaceful event. You know, we're there not to cause trouble or to start a fight. We're there to show our support and show that, you know, Texas, don't mess with Texas.
Now, Murdoch, I know you guys are real active in the streets and you have this event coming up on the 24th, but tell us what you guys have planned coming up after that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've got a lot of big events planned. This is only one of many. You know, we've got a big homeless feed that we're going to do Saturday, May the 31st. We've got another big event June 1st that we have yet to reveal because the details have not been ironed out yet. July 12th, we've got a gunpowder and lace all-girl open carry event going through Austin, Texas. And, of course, July 4th is Cattipalooza, an all-day event from Belton all the way to Austin with several stops with our open carry groups.
Exactly. So you guys have many groups going on, and thus far, just to silence the doubters out there, how many violent incidents have you guys had when you go out on the streets?
Zero. You know, we do a really good job with our 35 chapters around the state to coordinate with the local police and let them know, you know, where we're going to be. And, you know, we enjoy having them come out and hang out with us. You know, we find a lot of oath keepers. We get a lot of re-education done for those that are unaware of the current open carry laws in Texas.
Great, great. So with the time we have left, just give people an encouraging word. Tell them exactly what you're trying to do with this upcoming event on the 24th, and also, you know, more of how they can get involved.
Well, sure. You know, we're all going to show up there on the Red River in mass, under weight of arms, and you know we're trying to show that these property rights are they're ours. They're not the federal government's. You know, the millions of dollars that they're trying to steal from the livestock grazing rights, the hunting and fishing licenses, the natural resources is the people's. It's not the federal government's to come in and take that from Texas. And I hope that everybody can come out and help support that cause. And if you want to get a hold of us, it's comeandtakeItamerica.com, don'tcomply.com. There's plenty of links on the Come and Take It site of your local chapter. If there's not one near you, you can contact me and we'll help get one started in your area.
All right, Murdoch, Pizgatti, thank you for your time, man.
Thank you very much for having me on.
All right, and as Murdoch and I discussed, this is definitely going to be a peaceful demonstration, so don't let anybody scare you. If anybody's out there doing anything bad, it's going to be a provocateur. Not these guys. They're very peaceful guys. I've worked with them before, and I do believe they'll continue on that path. But if you want to go out there and you want to be prepared, go to the Infowars shop and get a Come and Take It t-shirt. We have several different designs. We have the AK-47, also the Molon Labe, the AR-15s. They're all right there at the InfoWarsShop.com. Well, that's it for this edition of the Infowars Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson, and we'll see you again tomorrow night.
Tune in to PrisonPlanet.tv for an extended broadcast. Celebrate the spirit of freedom and liberty upon which our nation was founded at InfoWarsShop.com. Molon Lave is ancient Greek for come and take it. This popular design combines both classic Greek Spartan imagery with modern M16 assault rifles. Now available in women's tees and proudly made in the USA. Celebrate the spirit of 1776 with the George Washington brass belt buckle or this incredibly sharp-looking 1776 hat. Badass. And be sure to check out the new arrivals at Infowars Life, where you can prepare your body to perform at peak levels with Survival Shield Nascent Iodine, Super Male Vitality, and Fluoride Shield. And wake up, America. Immune Support Blend is the healthy choice for the gourmet coffee lover. So get incredibly high-quality, freedom-based products and help fund the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
How certain are you that people got tickets they didn't deserve?
Oh, I can tell you citizens got tickets that they didn't deserve.
Smith says the issue is one of the reasons why he resigned from the department in December. Department officials, meanwhile, say they are confident that no citations were issued unjustly and that the concerns are unwarranted.
That was a former Dallas area police officer stating that he believes that his previous department handed out tickets using faulty equipment, an allegation that the department denies. True or not, the issuing of citations may not be in the hands of actual police officers too much longer anyway.
This is the Nightscope K5. It's an autonomous data machine. The intent is to predict and prevent crime. Then over on the side, we have a license plate recognition system. So the robot, as it's driving around, it can capture up to 300 license plates per minute, run those against either a white list or a black list, or even the national local criminal databases, determine if there's anybody in the area who shouldn't be.
Anyone who's ever had a ticket dispute knows how difficult the situation can be, even though you're talking with a human who, in theory, has reasoning skills. So what then when this robo-revenue generator coldly issues you a ticket without taking into account real-life variables? I'm sure that some will point out how supposedly cost-effective the bots can be. No sick pay, no vacation time, but that's not to say that the machines are otherwise perfect. Another recent Texas story shows a $250,000 drone crashing into water. How many man-hours were needed to retrieve the supposedly cost-effective device? And that's not to mention the serious safety concern of a crashing drone. So with drones walking the streets, weaponized drones scraping the skies, and cameras monitoring cities in real time, looks like the only future in law enforcement will be monitoring the machines when they go bad. You can find more reports at Infowars.com.
Friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only two ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with Nascent Iodine. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high quality Nascent Iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com.
You are watching the Infowars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. Members can share their passcodes with up to 11 other people, and your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.